Hi everyone, my name is Amy Coulter, and my research proposal is titled Implementing Wellness-Based Interventions to Reduce Teacher Burnout and Improve Retention in Chicago Public Schools. Teacher burnout has continued to be one of the most serious challenges that we have seen and faced in education today, especially in large urban school districts like Chicago Public School. When talking about burnout, what I'll be referring to is the exhaustion, detachment, and loss of motivation stated by and recorded by teachers. And we know that these things affect teacher well-being and ultimately impact student learning. So we're going to look at the different practical school-based approaches that we can use to help manage teacher stress, help them reconnect to their purpose through different wellness strategies that they could easily fit into their school day. So the problem statement that I'm working with is going to be referred to as such. We're looking at teacher burnout, which then turns into high turnover rates at the district level, and we also start to see a decline in student learning and student achievement. So there's lots of different retention efforts that we do have in place that are focused on paying teachers more and compensating them for their work. But more often than not, there's not enough addressing of teachers' emotional well-being, which is what we're going to be looking at through this. So my purpose and research question was, how do peer support groups, reflective journaling, and mindfulness sessions affect teacher burnout levels and retention intentions among urban public school educators? So essentially, how do these lived-in experiences during the workday impact the overall satisfaction and retention of teachers over time? A lot of the literature that is referenced in this research is going to be through really looking at the work environment of educators, looking at the leadership and how different types of leadership impact overall teacher retention and satisfaction, and also resilience built upon through teachers being fostered by different types of programs or initiatives or different leadership approaches within the school setting. The framework that I really hone in on is going to be the JDR model diagram. So we're looking at this idea of job demand, the different types of resources provided with this job demand, and the overall outcome. So how are different strategies put in place to help positively influence the types of outcomes that we are wanting to see with overall teacher satisfaction and job retention. Throughout this research, you'll start to see that what we're going to be looking for is a mixed methodology. We're going to be looking at quantitative and qualitative data. So looking at overall satisfactions surveys that are given to a select group of teachers between 10 to 15 at my school site that I work at. So getting an overall evaluative assessment to see overall satisfaction of teachers currently at the site that I am at. And then over time, collecting different types of perspectives of how these interventions are either positively or negatively impacting them, and gathering that data throughout those weeks. Speaking of the timeline, this is the timeline that I have set so far. So the first 2 weeks, we're going to start designing different research instruments that are going to be used within this study, and getting all of the consent forms and things prepared to be sent out, and also getting support from the school or the local district personnel that would be partnering with. And then week 3, we'll start to recruit different teachers and participants for pre-interview surveys and get like a baseline data for the overall burnout within that school site. And then the weeks 4 through 9 is when we start implementing different things such as the interview groups, focus groups, having teachers give themselves reflective analysis on how journaling, mindfulness, and different types of interventions are impacting their overall practice and their satisfaction. So sorry, my slideshow. So expected outcomes that we are hoping to see is an overall general increase of teacher satisfaction and mental wellness and teacher well-being. With that, we want to also see a higher rate of teacher satisfaction and just their overall resilience to the job at hand. Some of the things that we are going to consider, ethically making sure that confidentiality is crystal clear. No personal information will be released or anything of that nature, and all participants have to give consent before participating in this study. And the budget is low cost, only needing to be provided financially for printing and creating time and space for people to be able to do the interviews and things of that nature. But this is my research. It's really impactful for me, considering this is like my 8th year teaching, and I have been one of the teachers who has resigned. And so I'm hoping that this study will provide further evidence that we need to continue to provide support for educators inside of the school setting, not just providing outside.